there is a branch which is called as reductionist biology. Okay, I hope that you people, at least some of you may remember that term or able to recollect that term which we have mentioned in the beginning. Reductionist biology. So when I'm talking anything about reductionist biology type thing, what does it mean? So trying to identify the molecular reason of all the things that we have means the function that you and me are doing or any organism is doing. Okay, it is studied on the grounds of physics, chemistry, everything, and we are trying to get the answer for this on the basis of chemicals. Okay, what are the chemical basis of life? Say, for example, if anyone is asking what is the chemical basis of life, so the answer is nucleic acid, means the DNA is the chemical basis of life. If DNA is not there, nothing will be there. The same way, if I'm giving out CO2 during expiration, okay, as a result of respiration, if I'm giving out CO2, it is actually coming from the breakdown of glucose molecules. So we need to understand that what type of reactions are taking place in our body. So reductionist biology, you need to recall the definition if you are forgetting the one. Have an introduction of the unit, cell as a basic unit of life. You will get that word there itself. Okay. So before end, we have certain things to discuss in this chapter. And I said we are going to follow NCERT sequence. Of this chapter as well. So let's learn the things that are given in the book one by one. Okay, and the same time you need to understand that what these words means. It will help you a lot. So here they have given so many things about the chapter that is here, and here it is the here we need to know wide diversity of living organism in our biosphere. Already this is told that wide diversity in living organism in our biosphere, that is called as what? This thing is only called as biodiversity, right? This thing is only called as biodiversity. Now, a question that arises in our minds. See, not everything to be underlined in NCERT, remember this. Now, a question that arises in our mind is all living organisms made up of the same chemicals, elements, and compounds? You have learned in the chemistry how elemental analysis is performed. If we perform such an analysis of plant tissue, animal tissue, or a microbial paste, we obtain a list of elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and their respective content per unit mass of a living. Analysis is performed. What is written? I perform such analysis on a plant tissue, animal tissue, microbial paste, we obtain a list of elements. Okay, when we are going to do elemental analysis is performed on what? Plant tissue, animal tissue, or a microbial paste. Okay, we will get a list of elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, several others, their respective content per unit mass of the living tissue. We will get it. Elemental analysis in chemistry means the reaction that we are checking for any radicals. Okay, anions, cations, what to be done, all those types. So coming to the next thing, if it is given to me, means I can say that I'm getting all the type of things by analyzing or by doing elemental analysis. Okay, if the same analysis is performed on a piece of earth crust as an example of non-living matter, we obtain the similar list. In a similar list where on a piece of earth, so it means directly or indirectly we are getting the list of from the earth crust itself, directly or indirectly. To even plants, the plant food. We are dependent on here. That's why I'm saying whenever there is something like food, if we are going to compare, if we are getting it from the plants are getting the mineral soil and CO2 from the atmosphere, then definitely there must be some relation between the earth crust elemental composition and the elemental composition in human being. Okay, let's come to that only. We are coming to those things as well. So what are the things that we can mention over here? Includes that what differences between the two lists, means how the two things are same, the living and the non-living one, means the earth crust and the things that are present in living tissue. So that is very simple. I can write of this, these first few lines, analysis of these first few lines. The things that are obtained from earth crust, right? The things that are obtained from earth crust are called as minerals. Means not all elements that are present in my body are minerals. Earth crust, elements as minerals, right? To plants, then to animals. Okay, right? So that type of thing we used to say that from earth crust, these elements may be coming to our body or to the body of the plants. Right? What type of elements are minerals? Are all elements that are present in plant and animal tissue are minerals or not? That we need to know. Okay, that we need to do. See here, we are saying if I'm going to analyze living tissue, any living tissue, if I'm doing any elemental analysis, then I can say the elements that are present in our body or in any living tissue are of two types. One, they are called as mineral elements, and the second are called as non-mineral elements. Means, say for example, for plants, if I am saying for plant type of things, if say for example, plant is taking CO2 from atmosphere, so carbon is not at all and oxygen is not at all mineral element. Same way, water is also not mineral. Okay, here I am putting an example so that it can be written easily or can be learned in a better way. So here I am saying, for example, for a plant, CO2 from atmosphere and other things, water from soil. Soil, still we are saying these are non-minerals. These are non-minerals then. Okay, so that type of thing we need to remember. Anyways, we'll do elemental analysis and then we will compare that how earth crust and the living tissue are going to be same for the elements that they have. We will do the analysis for it. So the further thing that we can mention, what are the difference between the two lists in the absolute term? No such differences could be made out. All the elements present in the sample's earth crust are also present in the sample of living tissue. They are saying here something like this. All elements present in sample of earth crust also present in sample of living tissue. Doubt. You better understand it that what I have analyzed in the earth crust when compared to the living tissue, they were same. Say, sir, in earth crust there may be 100 elements. Are those 100 elements are present in our body? Not. Do we have gold in our body? We have copper in our body. We may be having, obviously, but in a small amount. Okay, so here's the thing very clearly. It is a comparison. They are saying two lists. I compared the two lists. I made two lists. The tissue one side, living tissue other side, earth crust. Now I am saying the list of the element is same. I'm not saying the composition is same. What I have studied, say for example, earth crust is having 100 elements and the living tissue is having only 15 elements. Those 15 are automatically, most commonly, automatically included in earth crust. That's it. A plant is getting C from where? Atmosphere for after doing photosynthesis. Oxygen also from carbon dioxide only. But when I am digging out the earth crust and I am getting oxygen in the nitrate, nitrites, sulfate, phosphate, they also have oxygen. So in that cases, we can say very clearly that the element that I have made in the list of or on the side of living tissue, maybe 15 anything, those are present in earth crust as well. That is the meaning of the line. Okay, don't say hundreds of the elements that are found in earth crust are also there in our body. It's not compulsory. Then nextly, however, closer examination reveals the relative abundance of the carbon and hydrogen with respect to the other element is higher. Where? In the living tissue as compared to the other. I'm not going to underline this line. Why? Because there is something little bit deviated from this. There is a deflection from this one. Okay, why there is a deflection? We'll come to that one. Okay, I'll just put the marking here so that you can we can see this that how this thing is different from the line. Okay, how the line is going to be deviated. Okay, right, we will see that one also. So we can continue asking the same way, what type of organic compound are found in living organism. They started with molecules and now they are coming to the organic compounds. So means a living tissue is going to have two type of things. They started something by saying elements. Some are coming from the earth crust as well, and they are elements. I call them as minerals. Now they shifted to organic. Now what does it mean? The product of photosynthesis is glucose. It's an organic compound. Okay, right? Now glucose is getting converted into starch or glycogen depending on the type of body or organism. It may be getting converted into cellulose to form the cell wall. Glucose may get converted into other complex compounds as well. Maybe getting converted to other things, making proteins or something else in the breakdown pathway. So it means all the organic compounds are getting formed. So organic compound means which are biological in origin first. Okay, that type of things are organic compounds. So our body, the living tissue can have two type of things. One, inorganic compound. Say for example, you are taking table salt. Now table salt is what, organic or inorganic? Obviously, it's organic. Sorry, inorganic. Okay, but whereas if I'm saying that if I'm taking any carbohydrate type of thing, say for example, table sugar now, that's an organic compound. So this is why we are saying situations are not always same. Okay, situations are not always same. There may be some differences. Means two type of compounds are there in my food or in my living tissue that are one, the compound, and second, that are inorganic compounds. Right? This is how we have to categorize. Fine. So this is how we have to say. So a living tissue, this time I am going to write molecules or compounds in living tissue. are two. One is called as organic and the other is called as inorganic. Okay, these are two. These two things are there. Fine. To have or to have these two type of things of these things. That what type of organic compounds are there or which inorganic compounds are present in the living tissue. We have to analyze these things. Going for that. So found in the living organism, how does one go about finding the answer? To get the answer, one has to perform the chemical analysis. Okay, chemical analysis. Right? So here we are saying what type of organic compounds are present. For this, I need to do chemical analysis. This is not elemental analysis. Be clear about this. This is not elemental analysis. Organic compound by default contains which type of element? I hope everyone is knowing. Now let's give me the answer that which type of elements are more common in organic compounds. Fast. I need the answer of this. Let me check then. Who is this legend? Sodium. It must be carbon, hydrogen, and if it is, then oxygen. These three are common. So organic compounds means prominently carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. This means elemental composition. They are talking about chemical analysis. Which type of compound? Yeah, what type of compounds? They are not saying what type of elements. They are saying what type of organic compounds. Okay, right? Fine. So here it is. We can take any living tissue, vegetable, piece of liver or anything else. And then we can have such kind of method which they are saying. We are taking a living tissue, grind it in trichloric acetic acid using mortar and pestle, obtain a thick slurry that were to strain this through a cheesecloth or cotton. Okay, we will get two fractions. Anything that is present in living tissue. It is not only about the organic compound. It is about almost everything that is present in the cell. And we are looking for the compounds only. This is trichloroacetic acid. Okay, in which we have made the paste. Now the two fractions will be there. One is the filtrate and the other one is the retentate. Okay, so there are two type of things that I have obtained, filtrate or acid soluble pool. And the second type of thing that we have obtained, retentate or acid soluble pool. Right, these two things were there. Okay, it is not about organic and inorganic. It is about those which get separated and those which get accumulated, passed on and remained as a sediment. So here is the thing that I can write for these two things. I've taken a living tissue. I have made a paste. In mortar using pestle. With trichloroacidic acid, then we have the other thing to mention. I have taken a cheesecloth and got two separations. One which has passed and is obtained as filtrate, and which is not passed, left behind, is retentate. Okay, the filtrate they are saying more technically as what? Repeat with me, right? Moneyman. Okay, that what does it mean, or what word it is? Filtrate means something acid soluble, and retentate is something which is acid insoluble. Okay, that type of thing they are stating here. Okay, this is a method by which they have done all the process. Anyways, living tissue has been used, and what we are doing is chemical analysis. Remember, this is not elemental analysis. This is chemical analysis. What kind of compounds are there in the living tissue? This is the objective. Okay, fine. We are going for the same thing. Mortar and pestle means what? You have seen this one, grinder. So they see the stone one. And we use another stone handle type of thing to grind something. Now is it fine? Pestle, mortar, put anything into it, usually taken for what? When we used to grind something little bit like garlic or ginger sometimes. Now is it fine? Thick slurry means the paste. When you are grind something, what you will get? A paste. That is thick slurry. And cheesecloth is common. Dupatta, you know, chunni or dupatta that is used with the suit. Okay, there is one type of cloth in it that is called as cheesecloth. Okay, the traditional one which is used for the purpose of dupatta or chunni, that is the cheesecloth actually. Although it is less available now in market because it is not that much fancy. Right. So two things are there. Now here we are saying scientists have found thousands of organic compound in acid soluble pool. Wow. We got it finally. Right. They are saying thousands of organic compounds in acid soluble pool. Now here have they stated that the scientists didn't found anything as organic compound in acid insoluble? No, they didn't told this. They are just saying in acid soluble pool we have seen organic compounds, but those organic compounds can be there in acid insoluble also. Okay, so if anyone is writing thousands of organic compound in the acid soluble pool, then we say even acid insoluble pool, which we can call by other name as what? Retentate, also have organic compounds. I hope you will get the question. Why we are reading like this way? Because we want to know that how the question is created from the NCERT. So the other line which is possible, I have mentioned here. I have mentioned the other line, okay? I mentioned that other line. Also have organic compound. Which one? The acid insoluble one. So they can ask that organic compounds are present in acid soluble pool, acid insoluble pool, both. Okay, something like that. Or acid insoluble pool consists of Only inorganic compounds. That's wrong. Acid soluble pool have organic compound as well. True. That is right. No doubt about this. So this is how we need to identify. Okay, we need to synchronize the things. That how the question is framed from NCRT. Now, when I am going to send you the exercise for the same, you will now, we are going to continue with the practice papers for all the things. Then you need to go with the same thing. We are reading the NCRT, understanding it and elaborating the lines. Okay, even if I am going to make the notes also, I will do the same. And thereafter, I am supposed to do the bits based on the NCRT questions only or NCRT only. That is more than enough. Okay, follow the correct way, the correct strategy. Right. So here I must write what the acid soluble is containing what type of compounds. So acid soluble is having both the things. And what is that? So acid soluble is going to have both the things. Acid soluble is having organic compounds and inorganic also. Whereas acid insoluble will have, don't know. One thing is sure, right? What it is going to have. I have said in the lower lines that organic compounds are confirmed. Okay, I must have added organic compounds here instead of this question mark. Now, question is very simple. What made them to be acid insoluble? What made them to become acid soluble? Okay, I need to get the answer of this, that what is making these type of compound to be insoluble means behind or left in the retentate. And what is the thing which is making these to be soluble and coming through the cheesecloth or coming as the filtrate? We need to know the reasons for this. Right? We are going to analyze those things. So here they are mentioned in higher classes, you will learn about all the things, which means they are telling about, like in higher classes, you will learn about how to analyze a living tissue sample and identify a particular organic compound. Oh, to analyze a living tissue sample and identify a particular organic compound. Wow. Yes, true. This can be judged in a cell, whether sugar is there or not, starch is there or not, fat is there or not, proteins are there or not. In a living tissue, we can do this. Okay, we'll make a list of it. Wait, we'll go for it also. It will suffice to say that there are one extract of the compound, then the subject, the extract to various separation techniques till one has separated a compound from all other compounds. In other words, one isolates and purifies a compound. Okay, so to purify a compound means what? Cell is having mixture of all the compounds. Okay, here I am writing that. So here I am saying that one word is there that is called a cellular pool. One word is there which is called a cellular pool, which is having what? All the things, organic and inorganic molecules. In it, right? So purification means if they are writing purifies a compound, what does it mean? One isolates and purifies a compound. Means separating a compound from all other compound. So it is just like the same way. Separating one kind of compound from the other, from all the other compounds. Okay, separating one compound from all the other compounds. If it is so, all the other compounds, then this is called as isolation. And then I will do what? purification. Okay, means my cells are a mixture of protein, carbohydrate, lipids, salts like sodium, chlorine, etc., etc. Okay, so many things are there. So I want to separate out proteins out of it. So purity can be, if I am saying 99% pure, means there may be chance of 1% impurity, that may be carbohydrate, lipid, everything. Okay, that is the isolation and purification. That will come in the later classes, not here. Analytical techniques, when applied to the compound, given as idea, the molecular formula and the probable structure of the compound. Very nice, very important question. So if someone is asking that what is the analytical techniques, so analytical techniques are related to something else. They are related to what? Giving us idea of what? Molecular formula. 1, probable structure of the compound. 2, I repeat, okay, they are going to give us idea about 1, the molecular formula, and number 2, the probable structure of the compound. Okay, that kind of feature. Remember this, very, very important. This is new analytical technique. So by this time, we have studied 3 different terms. One was elemental analysis, which is just like in chemistry. The second is chemical analysis, means separating the things as acid soluble, acid insoluble pool. And the third is analytical techniques, by which I can study the molecular formula and the probable structure. Elemental analysis means which element is present in what composition possible. Okay, right? Which element is present, which form, now which element is present, whether it is present as a compound or just elemental form, don't know. Second, chemical analysis, that what form it is present. Okay, third is analytical. If the molecules are there, then what is their molecular formula? So first I need to do what? Chemical analysis. Thereafter I will do isolation and purification. Thereafter will come what? Analytical. I am not going to study a mixture of protein, carbohydrate, lipid, and then analyzing their structure for getting the molecular formula or probable structure of the compound. So what should be done first? Chemical analysis. Okay, right? Chemical analysis. I will say like this. Organic and inorganic compound, isolation, purification, separating one compound. Organic, inorganic molecules, I will do chemical analysis. This will be the first step. Okay. After that, when I'm isolating and purification is done, thereafter I can go for what? Analytical techniques. For knowing the chemical formula and molecular formula and probable structure. The structure of that particular compound. So remember this, everything. Sequence you should remember. You first need to do what? Isolation and purification type of thing. Then only it is possible. Okay. So this is the thing that we need to know. What should be done first? What should be done later? Okay. Before I am supposed to guess the molecular formula, it is better to get that molecule in pure state than do all those type of things. Then all the carbon compound that we get from the living tissue can be called as biomolecules. Very nice. I said all the biomolecules, all carbon compounds that we get from the living tissues can be called as biomolecules. Carbon compounds. Last page. Here, what type of organic compounds? Organic compounds are those which have prominently carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It means organic compounds are biomolecules. It means the organic compound in the living tissue are called biomolecules, right? Okay, complete definition I want to have. This biomolecules means what? This biomolecules means that complete thing actually. That complete thing which is having carbon and other type of things to form organic compounds. They are biomolecules. So question is very simple. So biomolecules are one, organic or inorganic. Hanji, organic or inorganic? Obviously, tell me answer. Biomolecules are what? Organic or inorganic? Just I have gave the simple hint. You need to give the answer directly. Okay, you are not reading the book for the first time. NCERT type of things we have learned earlier also when they were sending some PPTs and everything. At that time also we have a little bit introduction of these type of things. Okay, let me check what people are saying. Okay, organic, 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 organic. Okay, okay, almost everyone is answering organic. Out of people, those who have answered or answered, everyone is answering organic. Okay, right. So means this thing is very clear. So here we are saying the cell is going to have both the things. So that's why they have raised the question in very next line. However, living organisms have also got inorganic element and compounds in them. How do we know this? Array, chemical analysis has only told that you are getting both type of things. Chemical analysis done, then elemental analysis of those compounds will tell us that they have which type of elements in them. Now, the problem is that you have classified biomolecules means organic one, not the inorganic one. So I can state very clearly here, I can write that biomolecules are something which are organic compounds. They are not inorganic one. Inorganic are not included here. So when I say living tissue, I'm repeating the lines again. It is having both the things. Have inorganic molecules, means which have other type of elements in them. Means less carbon proportion. Carbon hydrogen is comparatively lesser. And they have organic molecule also. So inorganic molecule, organic molecule. We have these two things, out of which they are stating that you must remember that biomolecules are actually what? That biomolecules are actually organic molecules. These organic molecules constitutes biomolecules. Okay, organic means rich in carbon, hydrogen type of thing. Other will be oxygen, nitrogen, sometimes phosphorus and sulfur as well. Okay, many other type of things are also possible in them. Right, next, coming to the other features. That however living organisms have also got inorganic elements and compounds in them. So how do we know this? Already we know this. Chemical analysis has told us. Okay, a slightly different but destructive experiment. Okay, fourth, elemental analysis, chemical analysis, analytical techniques. Now a destructive experiment. Okay, case number 4. Case number 4. Yes, sir. Destructive experiment. How many you have learned now? 4 things. This is 4th that I am writing now. Okay, sorry. NCERT has written. Not I am writing. Destructive experiment has to be done. Now, what is that? One weighs a small amount of living tissue, say leaf or liver, and this is called as wet weight. Wet means fresh weight also. Okay. Now do one thing very clearly. When you are going to weigh yourself, means on a weighing scale, if you are going to stand and then measuring your weight, okay, that is coming, say for example, if it is coming 65 kgs, do one thing. Take lesser amount of water, sleep and get up early in the morning, next morning, or maybe late in the morning. Then take your weight. You will find that there is a variation of something around 1.5 to 2 kgs. Now, what is less in your body, by the way? as compared to the previous day? The thing is water intake. You have taken lesser water. Okay, so it means that amount of water is variable. So which weight is more exactly to be analyzed? Without water, means that is called as dry weight. Fresh weight equal to what? Dry weight plus water content of the body. So if, say for example, if this is a living tissue, this is a living tissue, okay, keep it in the sun, it is getting sun dried. When, or you can keep this thing in oven also, get it dried completely, then whatever left is called as dry weight, means it is not having water. I'm not saying burn it. So there is dry weight type of thing. Okay, there is something which is called as dry weight, but they are telling something more about it. And what? See, this is wet weight. Wet weight means get it dry. Okay, wet weight is made dried, and now they are saying burn it. All the water is evaporated, the remaining material gives dry weight. Okay, remaining material gives dry weight. Fine. Now if the tissue is fully burned, tissue is fully burned, so it means very clear destructive. They were saying destruction here means burning. You are going to burn it, combustion, and all the carbon compounds are oxidized to gaseous forms. Yeah, true, and are removed. Okay, so carbon compounds are, I will just say, removed as what? Gases. So what is remaining is called ash. Remaining is called as ash. This ash contains inorganic element. Got it? Ash contains inorganic elements. So this is how we can identify. I said, na, this is how we can identify that what type of elements are present, means other than organic compounds, other than biomolecules. Cell is having magnesium, potassium, manganese, copper, iron. How this was learned? By getting the ash. Okay, when you are burning a living tissue, I will take what? I will do this thing. I will take a living tissue. I'm going to take a living tissue, and that living tissue is going to be burned. If I have something which is told as living tissue, I will get it dehydrated. Then what I will get? In this condition, what I will get? I'm saying dry weight. Okay, if it is having water, it will be difficult to burn it. That's why. So dry weight is obtained. Now this is burned. And whatever is obtained is ash. And remember that ash is devoid of. Ash, devoid of. It is not having carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen. Right? So they are saying the element that are left in the ash are called as inorganic. Then those which are lost as the gas are called as organic element. Wow. These all are called as organic element. They told the definition of inorganic, and by writing the converse, we got the definition of organic. Okay, they told something here as inorganic element, right? Examples they have given like calcium, magnesium. And I am saying here those which are lost, which are not there in the ash, they are organic elements. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen will be lost as their oxides when we are burning some living tissues. Okay, that is the thing we can create, we can state here. So this is a method by which I have learned that a living tissue is having both type of thing, both type of compounds or molecules, organic as well as inorganic. When I burned it, the things are getting changed. The organic elements got lost as gaseous, and the things which left behind are inorganic. Okay, that is the thing which we need to know. You can have the screenshot of these things. because this is only the note, this is only the NCERT. Okay, telling the things how to understand the things from NCERT itself. You can take the screenshot of this. This is the first page. You need not to underline everything in the NCERT, I'm telling you. Okay, you need not to underline everything in NCERT. Don't do it. It is not at all recommended. This is the page 2. You can have the click of page 2 tomorrow as well, because this is not yet completed. Some more things are to be added. Okay. Thank you.